It's time for us to go into our communities and to have some conversations about challenges and otherwise that people are experiencing in some of these places. We do have a report for you on the upcoming story now. The community, the areas where some people are farming cocoa tends to be some of these areas also where some mining goes on, you know, and there's a company, Akyem-Asuom Limited. They've been given a permit, as far as they, you know, are concerned, to farm certain, you know, acreage of land. But unfortunately, it looks as though the part of those lands also has cocoa farms, all right? And the farmers are up in arms because some of their lands have already been destroyed by the activities of this company. Let's take a look at this report. When we come back, then we'll delve into conversations and ask important questions.
Akyem-Asuom, located in the Kwabebrim municipality of the eastern region, is a farming zone due to the arable lands they have been blessed with. From cassava, plantain to palm, Asuom provides quite a huge chunk of the country's palm product, and that is not all. Farmers in Asuom also cultivate cocoa, making them one of the leading producers of cocoa in the region and Ghana as a whole. But for some time now, cocoa farmers in Asuom say their livelihood is at risk due to the operations of a gold mining company. The mining company, Akyem-Asuom Limited, who are claiming to have been issued with permits from the government and the Minerals Commission to mine over 30 hectares of farmlands in the area, have already begun destroying cocoa plantations in the area. Currently, over 4.5 acres of cocoa farms belonging to the farmers have been destroyed by the mining company, who intend to mine for 13 years in the area. In an interview with Citi News after a court hearing on the issue at the Asamankasa Circuit Court, the cocoa farmers, who reveal their lives are in danger after raising resistance, say they will fight off the miners even if government fails to intervene.
Yes, no. Company no mama so mama last so metu gold we ho na o maba o mutintim o machine no. Ye kokofo ho. Ye mefu ho. E ho na edidie ye mame no ye emerewa. Ye de hwe ye de ne ye ma ne ye busua. Ye sra ban. Menu commission. Omo no dro so mama o last sampa. Omo no dro o last no. Ko anya sa na se menu commission tie yen. Aban tie yen. Quarter tie yen. Na se company ne ba Asuom youth. Ye ne company ne de besie.
The secretary of the Asuoma Dansi Cocoa Cooperative Union, Maxwell Kwabena-Owusu, who expressed shock over the government and Cocoa Board's attitude towards addressing mining issues affecting the cocoa sector, says the country's cocoa stock will be depleted if the company is allowed to mine in the area.
They are not doing it. It's just yesterday they called that the IGP, they've called the IGP, they're going to arrest, blah, blah, blah. And even the premise upon which they want to arrest the people, I don't understand it. That a farmer has sold his cocoa farm to the people to prosper for good. So they are going to arrest him because the cocoa doesn't belong to him. They gave him the seedlings. And I was asking my colleagues, did they change the law yesterday? My farm, I decided to set fire to it. What's your business? Cocoa Board, we've been calling you to come into the case. It is now that you are coming to tell you are going. Anyway, it was just a tactics to just, get them to, feel that they are doing something about it. They are doing nothing about it to today. And they come to court today and tell us that they really don't know where the case stands, that the case wasn't even supposed to be called there, it was supposed to go to High Court. And I'm like, I don't understand it. Go to High Court. We've given you this thing since last year. We told you where the premises is. You've sent people to meet us here. You didn't know the case is not supposed to be here. Now you want us to go back again, spend another money to go to Korea to start the case afresh. You are not giving us a dime.
Care is not taking it will affect cocoa production.
It is affecting over how many acres? Didn't I show you the map of this thing? They say it's about, I've forgotten the figure. I don't want to quote wrong figure. This is the map. It covers the wide area of Asuom. Wide area. It's going to affect cocoa production.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Cocoa Board says it will file a fresh case in Accra to prevent mining company from going ahead with plans to cut down cocoa plantations in the area for mining purposes. Professor Michael Quatten, head of Galamsey Secretariat at the Office of the Chief Executive Officer for Cocoa Board, has been speaking to Citi News.
We are planning that the case, maybe Cocoa Board also file a new case at the High Courts. Yes, because of the criminalities involved, destruction of cocoa trees already. So we will sit with our lawyers and then ensure that the proper thing is done. meeting with them at the Akyem-Asuom, and they even inspected the area. In fact, they are very ready to face them boot for boot if they go ahead and destroy the land. And that is where we don't want this to come in.
On the issue of threats targeted at the cocoa farmers, Professor Kwatin, who indicated that Cocoa Board is taking serious consideration, says it has been reported to security agencies.
So we are talking with Mineral Commission. When we get to per the information we've gathered so far, we are also ensure that we do what is needful to protect them, because if threatening is coming from the Mineral Commission or wherever, or the company, then that is why we are here. So we will ensure that our security department is working on this. So we report to them for them to take it up.
All right, so there you have it. There's an impasse, Cocoa Board on one side, the farmers on the other side,
and
the company itself, on another side. And we want to try and, dig into this a little bit and find out what's really happening. I think we should talk to the secretary of the Cocoa Farmers Association to get, a better sense of what it is that is their position on this matter. Maxwell Akyem-Asuom has joined us on the line. Maxwell, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you very much.
All right, so as far as you are concerned, this situation that's happening in Akyem-Asuom, what do you know about it? What's the position of the association?
Okay. For better understanding, let me just give you a bit of background about it so we understand the nitty-gritties of it. On the 10th of December 2022, we noticed that they had come on site. Nobody was aware. Some farmers went to their farm, and then we found machines, bulldozing people's cocoa trees down and all that. We decided to inquire what was going on. They said that the mining company that had come around and they had a concession and whatnot. And we thought that something was wrong with it, because we know that when a mining company gains a concession in a certain area, they liaise with the community so that an understanding can come into place, and then they can move on with their way. All of this was not done. It was done on our blind side. So we ran to the chief, who unfortunately says he will not listen to us because we had before then gone to see the MP over the issue. So we filed appeals to Cocoa Board, the MP, police commander, and all that. Simply, our stand was that there is a process where you get a concession. There are things that you need to do. The mining law says, for instance, if you allow me to quote it, it says that the owner of a mining lease shall, in the presence of the owner or lawful occupier or accredited representative of the owner or lawful occupier of land, the subject of a mining lease, and in the presence of an officer of a government agency responsible for land valuation, carry out a survey of the crops and produce a crop identification map for the compensation in the event that the mining activities are extended in the area. So before you come to my farm to do any prospecting or to mine, you have to talk to me. We have to go there and appraise the situation. This wasn't done.
Okay.
When we delve deeper into it, the mining company stance is that, look, you guys didn't even have a road to your farms. And if we have come to create a road for you to your farms, why are you complaining? Just because one or two trees were affected. We are like, we don't understand what this was saying. Then they go behind us again, and then, from peasant farmers, they don't have money and all that. So they go there and they say, look, I felled one cocoa tree. I'm going to give you such amount of money. And we think this is a breach of stated law. It's a breach of it. There are procedures to go about it. When Newmont came to Abrim to do it, they produced what you call a crop subcommittee's recommended crop rate, 2010, 2011. I have the paper in front of me. Right now, I speak to you. And a palm tree was going for 71 cedis, a cocoa tree was going for 15 cedis, one tree. Now, in 2021, 2022, a similar case, this one wasn't involving what you call them now, this mining company. It was a certain rules that came over. MOFA sat down and pegged the price of the cocoa tree at 8 cedis. Can you understand the misnomer here? Then pegged an oil palm tree at 30 cedis. When in 2011, it was more than that. Look at the inflation trend in Ghana. And they just want to give us peanuts and then go away with it. They become rich, then we become poor. Because after you spend the money, what next?
Yeah.
And we've been trying to talk to them about it, and it's not happening. My greatest disappointment is the Cocoa Board. Sent them a petition as far back as 10th of January this year. And it's been promises we are going. They even came to Akyem-Asuom. We held a rally called the farmers. I've submitted several documents to them. And they will just keep on telling Professor Akyem keep on telling, we are working on it, we are bringing our lawyers, we are doing this. Currently, I speak to the case in court. It is a lawyer, a former judge, C.B. Nimakon, who has taken the case on pro bono basis. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Cocoa Board, who has a stake in it, is sitting on the sideline and just watching it and asking, so how far with the case? So what are you people doing? And all that. And I don't understand it.
Wow.
So basically,
We sent the Minerals Commission a copy of the petition that if you give an area for mining, a concession for mining, please don't you check if there are cocoa trees and palm trees there, or you just give the concession because the person has come to pay money? Okay, in any case, if you've done that, we can right the wrong. So how about we sit down now and look at the modalities? Let's just go through the due process of law. And that is our beef now. That's just the problem now. They are unwilling to go about their transaction following the law.
So where we are right now, what is your next step?
Okay, we took the case to court.
Okay.
Like I told you, the case has been in court, and they have a very smart lawyer. This sort of Escobar lawyers. So they come and then they propose. I call him Escobar lawyer because the truth is there, but he has ways of looking for technicalities in the issue and then making that the primary issue when that is not the primary issue. Okay, so they come since the case was filed on the 19th of December last year. We've not been able to sit on the case. It's been adjournment after adjournment after adjournment after adjournment.
Right.
And that's what has been going on.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, what are some of the long-term consequences of allowing these mining companies to operate in the area?
My sister, there are so many.
Yeah,
Look at the amount of deforestation they are going to cause. The world today is babbling about climate change. Here in Ghana, we are really working hard on making sure climate change comes about. What about the farmers, the peasant farmers? These people have no source of livelihood.
Right.
It's just a farm. So you come and give him peanuts and he finishes, and what next? We are saying that, look, there's a protocol, there's a procedure to go about your mining, so that the person who is going to be affected is going to be justly compensated. Don't do that. They're not willing to listen to that.
Right.
They're not willing to listen to it too.
Right. And now talking about people that you have actually spoken to about this issue, I'm sure you said you spoke to the MCE. Now, earlier on you said you spoke to the chief too, but he did nothing about it. So are you trying to say that the traditional rulers are just watching you guys, just cry and do nothing? Okay. Our chief's beef was that he felt that we had, disrespected his position, because we had gone ahead to the MCE prior to coming to see him. So if we had petitioned the MCE, who is a government representative, then why are we coming back to him? Are you following what I'm saying? Yes.
So that was his position. And I don't know why he's still stuck in that quagmire of excuse. Wow. But that's where he is now.
Yeah.
And the MC's own was so pathetic. The MC told us, point blank, that the minerals under the soil is of more value than the cocoa or than what is on top of the land. That's why the government has given the concession.
Oh, wow.
So one of the farmers asked him, are you saying that after giving us 3 trillion to plant, after asking you to go into farming, this is what you're going to do now? And he said, look, you guys should find a way of cooperating with them, because whether you like it or not, they are going to come and do it. They are going to bring soldiers, they are going to bring policemen, they are going to do it. That's what the MC said.
Who is the MC?
Is it somebody Bosia Kwan? So I'm not too sure. I have forgotten the name. Kede Municipality MC. You can.
The Kede Municipality MC. And then and who's the MP?
The MP is Jesus. I usually don't want to deal with politicians, so I hardly know their name.
All right. Okay. Well, Maxwell, thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So that was the secretary of the Cocoa Farmers Association, Maxwell Akyem-Asuom. You know, this situation is, there's so many layers to this. Now, you see the comment that he made that was purported to have come from the MP, that, you know, whatever it is that is in the ground is more valuable than the cocoa. And so whatever agitation you may make is irrelevant. It's going to happen. Now, my challenge with, and if it's true that that's what was said, is very unfortunate, because this is a country that has never had commercial, when I say commercial, I'm talking about large-scale government farms. They've all been smallholder farms belonging to families and communities. And that's how we've always grown our cocoa, right? We don't have cocoa plantations owned by government. It's the smallholder farmers that are spread all over the country. They all bring their produce at the end of the season to Cocoa Board. Cocoa Board goes through the process, and we are the world's #2 exporter of cocoa, right? This is a huge foreign exchange earner, right? I think it's number 2 or number 3, you know, in terms of our foreign exchange earnings now. Now, if you're saying what is in the ground is more valuable, then for me, it's that whole mindset of how much we can personally gain from the arrangements.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying? How much we can personally gain from the arrangements. Well, we've been joined on the line to help us to understand a little more of what's really happening here. Fifi Boafo, who is with Ghana Cocoa Board as PRO. Fifi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
All right, so this situation in Akyem-Asuom, the secretary of the Cocoa Farmers Association was quite frank about his displeasure with the posturing of Cocoa Board. What do you understand by the situation that's going on there now?
Which association are you referring to?
The Cocoa Farmers Association.
Which one is that?
Well, the gentleman who spoke with us, Maxwell Akyem-Asuom, he's the secretary of the Cocoa Farmers Association.
Well, I'm hearing that for the first time.
Okay. Do you know the name, Maxwell Akyem-Asuom?
No, no, this is the first time I'm hearing the name.
I see. Okay. So let's get into this conversation then. The agitation that they have is that a license has been given to a company called AC Cannon Limited. And AC Cannon is farming in an area, it's mining or prospecting to mine in an area where there are cocoa farms. Are you aware of this?
Yes, Cocoa Board is aware of that.
Cocoa Board is aware of it. Okay. What's your position on this matter?
Well, we believe that even though the Minerals Commission has the right to give permission to mining companies or prospective mining companies to do prospecting and mine, we believe that giving out cocoa farms for mining purposes is one we need to reconsider, because if we consider the contribution of the cocoa industry to our country, even though, yes, there are those who argue that the mining probably provides equally important contribution, we consider that the persons who are into cocoa farming, the number of years it serves them and the number of years their contribution serve our country, there's every reason for us to protect what they do. And yes, the fact that you have mine deposits does not automatically mean that everything must go. So for us, we do not encourage that. And we have already engaged the Minerals Commission on the need to consider that, yes, there are mining deposits at some places that ought to be given out for mining purposes, but there's also every reason for us to save our cocoa industry.
Right.
Is there a practice of adequate compensation given to farmers who may lose their farms as a result of some of these decisions at the Minerals Commission level, where the concession given out may cover some people's cocoa farms? Is there a practice of giving adequate compensation?
For us at Cocoa Board, we believe that a compensation paid to cocoa farmers when their cocoa farms are converted to mining activity is not commensurate to the effort put in by the farmers. And we have been contesting that indeed. There is some work currently ongoing to go before Parliament for a new calculation to be done to determine the actual amount the farmer is supposed to be paid if there's a reason for the farm to be turned into a mining site. So yes, we do not share the position that the compensation that is paid to the farmer is commensurate to the effort put in when it is time for them to use that farm as a mining site.
Right.
Do you know specifically how the calculation is done currently in terms of, is it the current value of the cocoa farm, or do they also include future value?
Well, the land use is what is paid to the farmer, and then the actual amount paid to the farmer. The calculation, I will not be able to do the calculation with you on at the moment. I believe that it is not adequate. But on the specific issue of the Akyem incident,
yes,
I did not hear the gentleman you talked about. I do not know him, and I do not know his interest, what he said. But let me put on record that this issue has come before the Cocoa Board. Cocoa Board has shown keen interest in what is happening, because we think that in most instances, when these persons go to places and say that, well, they have a license to mine or they have a license to prospect for gold, they do so with bigger authority, influence, and muscle, which the farmers are not in a position to compete with them. So how they arrive at the compensation and all that, the farmers are given a raw deal.
Yeah.
In this instance, Cocoa Board has intervened.
Okay.
And Cocoa Board is actually working hand in hand with the farmers throughout the process. Indeed, even before the case was filed in court, Cocoa Board was with the farmers. Just last week, I think Thursday, they were in court. Cocoa Board lawyers were there. The lawyer the farmers contacted, he was not in court. That's why the case was not called. But Cocoa Board lawyers were in the court just last week.
Okay.
So if someone says he's disappointed in Cocoa Board, I am wondering, Cocoa Board did not give the land for the purpose.
Yeah.
The farmers are the owners of the cocoa. And when this incident is happening, Cocoa Board has indeed instructed our lawyers to represent the cocoa farmers, and indeed the lawyers are representing the farmers, clearly demonstrating that the Cocoa Board is the farmers, and Cocoa Board is seeking to protect the interests of the farmers.
Are the lawyers of Cocoa Board representing pro bono, or are you charging the farmers?
Board is not charging the farmers for the service Cocoa Board is rendering. And indeed, it's not the first time Cocoa Board is doing that. There's been incidents in Western North, in Western region, where Cocoa Board has sent its lawyers. Indeed, it's a decision that has been taken by the board.
All right, it seems you have a technical challenge there. So that was Fifi Boafo, Mr. Fifi Boafo, who is the PRO for Cocoa Board, and unfortunately he wasn't able to wrap up his thoughts before. But we've pretty much heard his position on this, representing the Cocoa Board's position. One last question that I wanted to ask him was that the cocoa farmers feel exposed, as opposed to being covered by Cocoa Board, because ostensibly Cocoa Board is making their profits and returns and all of that from these farmers, right? And so you should cover them, protect them, But like Fifi says, it's their cocoa board lawyers who are representing the farmers in this case. I would love to hear from Maxwell again because
yes.
he says he has no idea who
Exactly.
Maxwell is.
It seems like,
and he doesn't even know about the Cocoa Farmers Association of which he is secretary to. So this is an interesting situation that, you know, I definitely want to, you know, dig into it.
I really actually want to dig into it too, because right now is he said, she said kind of situation that is going on. And from what I understand, like you said, it seems like the cocoa farmers feel alone.
Yeah.
Because if they don't feel alone, they will not come out to say, okay, we are going to protect ourselves. For them wanting to protect themselves and take matters into their hands, that means they really
because that's what they're threatening,
exactly.
right? It's like we will seize the machines if they come here. We'll gang ourselves up against the mining company.
And also what I found worrying is the fact that their traditional rulers are still
that. If what Maxwell said is anything to go by, then it's a bit disappointing.
Very disappointing.
Because you see, when you are the big man and you see yourself as the big man, it's okay for others to start down the ladder and come up to you when they can't get their issues resolved, right? So the fact that he went to the MP first before coming to him makes the chief feel as if you've gone above me. You know, and so why are you now coming to me?
Well,
do you get it?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the community, the chief is the big man.
True.
You know, but he clearly doesn't see himself as such.
And he doesn't want to be the bigger person to even lead. And that's a problem.
All right.
Oh,
well, you know, it's a serious situation, and I think that it's important for government officers and just government structures to fine-tune some of these things within these communities so that we don't have this going on. Look, Mineral Commissions has issued a permit. Did they do due diligence to say that this land here, has cocoa farms?
So
you need to engage with the farmers, right? Has all of that been done? Anyway, our first caller, Maxwell Kopena-Owusu, has rejoined us on the line. Maxwell.
Yes, please, sir.
Yes, sir. So Fifi Boafo says he doesn't know you and he doesn't know your association.
Sorry, I can't hear. Okay, yes, go on.
Did you hear me? I said Fifi Boafo says he doesn't know you and he does not know your association.
The PRO.
That is true. That is very true. However, hello, sir.
Yes, please go ahead.
However, Professor Kwatin knows me in person. He's been the person that, when we went to forward our petition to Cocoa Board at Cocoa Board head office, he was the one who was brought to stand in between the CEO and us.
Okay.
So if he says he doesn't know me, I've never met him, that is very true.
Okay.
But I know Professor Kwatin.
Okay.
So every information that we've had thus far has been forwarded to Professor Kwatin via WhatsApp and in person.
Okay, so hold on. Just break things down a bit. Professor Michael Kwating is the head of the Galamsey unit at Cocoa Board, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, you clarify for us. Your association is known as what?
It's known as the Akyem Adansi Cocoa Farmers Cooperative.
Akyem Adansi Cocoa Farmers Cooperative.
Yes, and it is a cooperative that Cocoa Board knows because we have a license for it.
Okay.
And Cocoa Board gives us input in the name of the cooperative.
Okay, so Akyem Adansi Cocoa Farmers Cooperative.
Yes, please.
All right, okay. Now, moving forward, let's move the conversation forward. How involved has Cocoa Board been in resolving your challenges?
Thank you very much. That is why we said we are disappointed thus far in Cocoa Board's involvement.
Okay.
The letter forwarded to them was since the 10th of January.
Yeah.
Professor Kwatin promised they were going to do something about it. So they come down to Akyem and then we call a rally of all the farmers. And then they go to the chief's place and then we have a dialogue. We talk at length and they say they're going to come into and step into the case.
Okay.
So that we don't have to spend, because although the lawyer is doing it on pro bono, he has to fuel his vehicle to the court premises. He doesn't live in Asamankese.
Okay.
Are you following me?
Right.
Okay.
Very good. So Cocoa Board said they're going to step in. They come to a team and promise us all that.
Yeah.
Then they leave. And then Professor Kwasi calls and says, I need this information. I need this information. In fact, the last information he needed was that I should get farmers, their names, their signatures, their farmer ID and farm ID. Cocoa Board has named each farm, giving each cocoa farm an ID.
Yeah.
And also giving cocoa farmers ID cards. Are you following it?
Yes.
So that we know that they're not dealing with fictitious people who are just making noise.
Yeah.
So I forwarded all this information to them. Close to 300 people. The exact number is 286 farmers. And every time that we go to court, there was a time they told us they were sending a lawyer over. So we should tell our lawyer that they are coming to take over the case. So I tell my people, look, let's be careful with these people. They are very funny people. They are going to tell you that the vehicle broke down in the way they were not able to make it to court. Let's allow our lawyer to go to court. And true to my word, our lawyer came to court, their lawyer didn't come. So I called Professor Kwasi and said, why did you promise you're going to send a lawyer when, even though you knew the lawyer was not going to come, you didn't call us to inform us?
Okay.
He tells me, this is somebody who has been telling me that every document I've sent to him, he has forwarded it to his Cocoa Board lawyer.
Okay.
He tells me that the lawyer says that he just received the papers now, only last night, and he has not gone.
Wow.
Okay. So the story further unravels, and it will be good to have Fifi respond to this. I wish we'll be able to raise him on the line, because you're getting a few more details. Maybe Fifi wasn't aware of this association called the Cocoa Farmers Association, because that's not the real name.
And probably Fifi wasn't aware that their lawyer did not go there,
even though he's been assigned to go.
Exactly. So so Fifi came here actually said that we actually provided them with a lawyer, and that's part of our intervention. And then this other guy said no. And Maxwell said no, it's not like that. He didn't show up. So there are a bit of disparities here and there.
Well, Maxwell is back. Oh, Maxwell.
Yes, please.
Yes. So you were making a submission there.
Yes. So I said the first time Cocoa Board said they were going to come over, they failed to show up in court. Professor Kwasi didn't have the decency to call us and tell us the lawyer wasn't going to be present. I was the person who called him at the court premises to find out why the lawyer didn't show as they promised.
Okay.
And then he tells me the lawyer just received the document in the night before. And I'm like, but all this while, since January, and you've been telling me all the time, I have forwarded it to the lawyer, you've not been giving him anything. So I'm so upset, I just let the matter die. The last time they were in court, the last time we were in court, he came with two lawyers. The two lawyers don't have anything concerning the case. So they're in the dark. They don't know why they're there. So they meet me and they're asking me, I should, where are our court papers, how far has the case traveled? And I'm like, but we forwarded everything to you before, every step of the way.
Wow.
So if you tell me at the court premises that and he's coming to say they are representing us, when did they begin to represent us? When did they begin? When they came to court, they were able to tell the judge that they are here. They didn't do anything of any of that.
All right. So Maxwell, we're going to raise Fifi on the line again and have him answer some of these questions that we've been putting. All right. Thank you very much, Maxwell. So that was Maxwell Akyem-Asuom, the secretary to the Akyem-Asuom Adanse Cocoa Farmers Cooperative. All right. And we're going to try and speak with Fifi Boafo, who is the PRO for Cocoa Board, to find out what exactly has been going on here. But it looks as though this is not going to end now.
It's not.
Because from the perspective of the cooperative, they've been made promises, which promises haven't been kept, right? You go to court only to find out that the lawyer hasn't showed up, and it's like the lawyer just received the document last night, the document last night, so it was unable to come to court. Then you go to court, and two new lawyers appear, and they are rather asking the clients Can you give us details and give us because we haven't been given updates, and that's rather unfortunate. So Cocoa Board, please. We do have the PRO for Cocoa Board back on the line, Mr. Fifi Boafo. Good, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes. So let me just clarify. The name I gave you at the beginning was wrong. It's actually the Akyem-Asuom Cocoa Farmers Cooperative, and that's the organization for which Maxwell Kobna Owusu speaks. He says that he has been dealing. He said you are right if you say you don't know him, because he has never dealt with you. He's rather been dealing with Professor Michael Kwarteng, who is your head of Galamsey unit.
Okay.
Yeah. So he made certain claims and allegations that the lawyers that you say have been assigned to represent them in court haven't been brought up to speed in terms of what's happening, the details of the case and everything else. The first time the first lawyer came, in fact, the first day they went to court, the lawyer didn't show up. That's what he says. And he says that when he calls, he then gets told that, well, the lawyer received the information just the night before, so the lawyer couldn't make it. Now, further down the road, two lawyers show up in court, ostensibly to represent them, only to find out that the lawyers have not been briefed as to the case thus far, and are rather asking the clients, for updates and documents. I don't know what you have to say about this.
Well, it's interesting. There's nothing wrong with a lawyer asking the client for briefing. Look, when you speak to lawyers, they will tell you that lawyers act on behalf or on the instructions of their client.
Yeah.
So if a lawyer is acting on your behalf, it is your call. You tell the lawyer what you expect. Of course, the lawyer is a legal person. He is a professional. He's supposed to provide professional service.
Yeah.
But the farmer owns the farm.
Yeah.
The farmer understands the situation.
Yeah.
The farmer knows what has transpired.
Yeah. But
it is for the farmer,
yes.
If you indulge me.
Go ahead.
It is for the farmer to bring the lawyer up to speed, because at the time the people started coming around, the lawyer was not present.
Okay.
So it is for you to update the person in order for the lawyer to represent you. But if you say there's something wrong with telling your lawyer what the story is, how would the lawyer be able to represent you?
Okay. So fair enough. But here's a case where Cocoa Board is sending the legal team. So whoever they send is coming from your auspices. Now, in this case, legal representation has already begun, right? Documentation, information about the case and everything has been made available to the legal team of Cocoa Board. Now, if a new team of lawyers for some reason have been sent to represent on a particular day, should they not be apprised by the old team that was already on the case? Why should the client now be the one updating this new team of lawyers? That's my challenge.
Well, I do not see the point, honestly, in trying to apportion blame or trying to find who is right or who is wrong.
No, I don't think it's a case of apportioning blame, really. I think
you asked me a question, and I was actually answering your question.
Okay.
So if you indulge me. Thank you. Yes. Farmers have a problem. Cocoa Board has taken a decision to intervene.
Yeah.
And the intervention is to ensure that the rights of the farmers are protected. As to how the lawyer and the person who has an issue are able to come to a conclusion in getting information, I think that is a minor issue.
Okay.
The major issue we are dealing with is how can the lawyers protect the interests of the farmers? And that is the reason why the lawyers have been assigned for the purpose.
Yeah.
So if we belabor the point, oh, the lawyer should have gone to see the person, the lawyer, how they got the briefing, we believe is not the right way. You are not dealing with the germane issue, what goes to the heart of the matter.
Okay.
So if we are rather spending time, the lawyer should have come to me days before. When I went to the lawyer was in another meeting. These things do not solve the problem. Okay. Because the problem is that the right of the farmers must be protected. And that is the reason why the lawyers have been assigned.
Yeah.
So if we could rather spend our energies on getting them to do what will rather protect the interest, I am of the view that will rather help.
Okay.
I agree with you that protecting the interest of the farmers is what your core duty and interest should be. However, the farmers feel that Cocoa Board has left them exposed, and for good reason, because if we've begun the process and we feel that we have legal representation from Cocoa Board, and one day we show up in court at the next hearing only to find out that two new lawyers who don't seem to have an idea about the case are the ones who have showed up, then we were wondering that, wait, hold on, what's going on here? We've gone down this road for so many miles already. How come we are going to have to start from the beginning, updating new lawyers as to what has gone on? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying there's an apportionment of blame or whatever. I'm just asking the question that it's a legal team. The legal team should all be fully aware of what's going on. And so if there's a new squad, for a lack of a better description, are being sent to lead the team, they should be apprised from the office. So are you not, you shouldn't be surprised that the farmers feel exposed. It's like, are we being represented, or not?
The case was called. The case was actually not called the last time the lawyers were in court. So what really is the issue of exposure here? They went to court. The matter was not heard on the day they went to court the last
wasn't?
time.
Okay.
It wasn't.
I see.
So how do you feel exposed?
Well, from Maxwell's complaint.
So let me continue.
The need for them to be updating this new lawyer.
You have other lawyers from Cocoa Board that are representing you.
Okay.
A new set of lawyers have been brought to continue the process. It is only right that the new people who have been brought to continue the process, who also seek to understand from your viewpoint. It does not mean that the people who are representing you will not mention to their colleagues who are taking over or who are continuing the process from that point.
Okay.
It is only fair that, yes, you ask me to represent you. And you say that, well, because I've spoken to your colleague, I need not to speak to you. Is that what we are rather spending our energies discussing?
No.
I believe the conversation should be about, yes, so this is the stage we are in now. How do we ensure that we do not lose our farms?
Yeah.
And for a client and your professional relationship, if there are some even concerns like these are things that can be easily ironed out. Oh, we think that we've already spoken to your colleague on this issue. Kindly speak to your colleague so that he briefs you on that. I do not think that the lawyers just went to court with their gowns without any knowledge as to what they are going to do. Obviously, they knew what they are going to do. These are professionals. So we are rather wasting time, unfortunately.
No, we are seeking to understand what has gone on, because our conversation is secondary and aside to whatever processes are happening in court anyway. We are just seeking to understand what has actually happened because he's made certain allegations, and we're trying to understand and tease out for the better understanding of everybody.
The point I am making is that what is the issue? The issue is that cocoa farmers feel or stand the risk of losing their farms because a mining company has come to prospect gold there. They believe they will wish to maintain their farms instead of giving the farm out to to these miners.
Yeah.
How do we get issues resolved? We believe that the farmers on their own lack the capacity to be able to litigate with the mining company.
Yeah.
Cocoa Board has therefore appointed lawyers who have worked with them throughout the process. He mentioned quite his name, that they have been in touch with the person at Cocoa Board who is liaising to ensure that their interest is protected.
Yeah.
So I think the conversation is that to what extent will Cocoa Board continue ensuring that their interest is protected? But this conversation about, oh, I came to him, somebody else came to speak to me,
Sir.
these things don't solve problems.
Okay, I just want to ask, so while all this is going on and with the new legal team, so do you have an idea of the timeline that, you know, this issue will be resolved?
Well, unfortunately, it's a court process, and court processes, we lack the capacity to determine how long it will travel. We are at the mercy of the presiding judge.
The Minerals Commission, what is their role in all this? I mean, I do know that they issue the licenses. I'm asking this question because maybe you have some history in terms of other cases that have happened like this before. Should they not do due diligence before they hand out permits to people to prospect that cover farms that are under your jurisdiction?
I wish I had the authority and the permission to speak for the Minerals Commission. Unfortunately, I lack that capacity. But we have indicated that we wish that cocoa farms are not given out for mining purposes. And indeed, we've had a conversation with the Minerals Commission on this matter. At this point, Cocoa Board has done the polygon maps of all cocoa farms. And at our last conversation, we indicated to the Minerals Commission, which they also admit, that there's a need maybe going forward before licenses are issued out. We impose the polygon maps of the cocoa farms to tell whether the place they are giving out licenses fall within the cocoa zones or where we have cocoa farms. That conversation has not concluded. But as to whether they are supposed to or they are enjoined not to do so, unfortunately, I'm not in the position to make a call.
Okay, right. So you made mention of the polygon maps. How far has that conversation advanced in terms of before we give the lands out, let's liaise with Cocoa Board, make sure that there are no cocoa farms in that area that will become a problem later on? How far has that conversation gone?
Well, it's gone far, but then there's no conclusion on that yet.
Right.
I see. All right.
Fifi, sorry, before we end, I just want to ask, when issues like this happen, do you have reps visiting these areas to actually see the kind of damages that have been done and, you know, how the farmers actually really feel about these issues?
Yes, Cocoa Board, we have the intelligence units. When these things happen, they engage. And the head of that unit is actually a lawyer himself. So they engage, realizing also the danger galamsey and mining activities is also happening on cocoa farms. The board has actually set up a desk to monitor these activities, to engage, and then also to inform management on what is happening. So yes, when these things happen, we have a desk that engages on that. So yes, that's been done.
Right. So when you say engage, it's just, are they just phone conversations, or you have reps actually on ground?
They visit them.
Okay.
Okay. Of course, we do not have representatives across the country, but you know, Cocoa Board has staff across the country.
Right.
So depending on the situation, either staff within the district or within the region will engage. But of course, if there's also the need for a certain conversation at a certain level, you have representatives from the head office who will go and have that conversation in order to brief management for the necessary action to be taken.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for your time this morning. We appreciate it very much. All right. So we've been speaking with Fifi Boafo, Mr. Fifi Boafo, who is the PRO for Cocoa Board, and also Maxwell Kobna Owusu as well joined us earlier. He is the secretary for the Akyem-Asuom Adanse Cocoa Farmers Cooperative.